It's James Steinhubel here with TVU and the community channel, and I have Aidan Theroux, currently a professional communications student at MacU University, and is the campus NDP VP Communications, and also was the NDP candidate for 2019 in the federal election for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan. How you doing, sir?
I am doing quite well. How are you doing, James?
Very good, very good. I'm so happy to see you. All going well. Like you're handling the the COVID reality.
Oh, I'm getting through it day by day.
And so, as a VP or as a professional communications student at MacEwan University, I'm surmising or supposing that you guys were pretty well operating in a streaming combo virtual environment already. If not, like what kind of changes has it posed for you for school?
No, I mean, kind of like you said, we sort of were like our program. We're very lucky in the sense that we do rely a lot on the modern day kind of technology to get around. We talk a lot, so it didn't really affect us too much aside from just changing classroom activities to doing it everything online. Yeah, I think there's been unfortunately a lot of other programs haven't quite had the luck we've had in that regard. So yeah, not really a whole lot's changed for us.
Let's talk politics. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you. You're the campus NDP VP Communications. You're coming back. You showed up at school. You were a federal candidate for the NDP. You got big beat. It was like 54-9, but you got almost 9,000 votes. Like that's significant. What was it like to go in and start to become involved in student politics? Not that student politics is an easy landscape to navigate. So how did that work? How did you experience it? And how do you think the NDP members on campus how they responded when you showed up?
Well, we got like a small group. I'd kind of been in contact with the president beforehand, so we'd kind of already been coordinating. We got a small group. We kind of we pulled together pretty well. I'd say we don't have I know some groups you get like office politics in school. We actually generally get along pretty well. It was kind of funny coming back to school after that. I kind of got to roll in like this celebrity. Had journalism students come in and talk to me for interviews. Like it was the
right on, doing us proud. That's good. That's good. Representing. So that's awesome. So as you put your sharp political mind to the issues of the day on campus. Now, as a how do you view yourself? Are you a Democratic progressive? Are you a Democratic socialist? Like, where do you stand in the spectrum in the party first? And then what were you guys getting after? What are you getting after?
Well, I sort of like to consider myself sort of a social democrat.
Okay.
I generally don't really call myself a socialist. I kind of I do. I kind of see myself as more sporting kind of Keynesian economics. Sort of capitalism. I like capitalism. It's I do consider myself a capitalist, but there are some areas that we need moderation. I think. I think when we look at our country and we look at say things like pharmaceuticals, for instance, every other country that has a public healthcare system like we do also covers pharmaceuticals, and I think we could benefit a lot from doing stuff. So it's more I just kind of look at things and I think we could be doing a little better at that is kind of generally how I like to view things.
Okay, and then so what's the issues of the day? Like what are you getting after conservatives for? Like, are you guys like pals, or are you in the paper there? Are you on the radio, the TV? Like what how are you kicking it up? Well, how goes the revolution?
Well, we get along personally, I'd say pretty well. I got to know Garnet a bit and all of them. Yeah, I think like aside from pharmacare, I think as well we got to be tackling the cost of living things. I think the NDP has a lot of great plans for dealing with that. I think when we look at cell phone bills, for instance, that's another thing there that we're committed to trying to lower, try to put a cap on that, and just a lot of things like that. Just kind of things generally that would maybe make people's lives a little better, I think, in a sense, make sure people aren't getting left behind. And especially right now with this COVID-19 crisis, we got to be looking for the right solutions to do that. And I think the NDP has been fighting for the right stuff.
Okay, and so back home, in the old riding association and active group, are you still in touch with us hometowners, or now that you're in the big city, what are you doing? You still hanging out, or what's going on?
I'm still back here at home. I always do when I go to MacU, and I always drive like an hour there and back every day. So
okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, we're always in touch. We're both the provincial and the federal associations. We're currently, obviously, we got to put some of our activities on hold, but we all keep in touch, and we coordinate stuff and see if we can do anything during this crisis. But yeah, we got a strong organization, and
so what's blowing in the wind with the riding association? Anybody campaigning with any causes? You guys, there's always a cause with the progressives. We've got environment, we've got all sorts of things they're important to this. You guys carry a whole bundle of special interests that you seem to concern yourself about. What's important locally?
Well, like a lot, again, like policies that we can work towards. So, for example, in the provincial riding, which is where a lot of our attention is right now, because like the federal ball game, it obviously is a bit of a different. It's when we go into those elections, we know there's not a big likelihood we're gonna pull in a win. But so a lot of our attention is focused more towards the provincial political battle. And and I see what's kind of happening right now at the UC. What's been happening with like they said they weren't going to fire any frontline workers. We got plenty of those living here in Fort Saskatchewan and living in the park. We and we want to make sure our representatives, our MLAs, are actually listening to people's concerns, listening to the concerns of our public sector workers,
you want to talk provincial? Well, I'll go there. When the NDP formed government, they I don't know, maybe set a standard because the UCP sort of came in with the same sort of approach, and they viewed everything through ideology, right? And both. I'm not saying any's better or any worse, but what I did notice with the UCP, they went ideologically hard, and they were cutting well into the COVID crisis. But it's almost like they woke up, and now I don't know if it's now progressive conservative or if they're now liberal Democrats, but it's almost like this new pragmatism and government involvement is a new sort of weapon or policies in their playbook. Did you notice that change too?
Well, I did. Especially, I think it was apparent not even just with the UCP, but I think in a lot of Doug Ford. The Doug Ford government's actually a pretty big example of that. I mean, I got to give him credit. He's really stepped up to the plate during all this, and it's interesting because I think this is creating sort of a new norm. Through very terrible circumstances do tend to bring people together, and I know in the States that's maybe a bit of a different story with how they're cooperating, but I do think there are still some things I do criticize the UCP for, obviously, and we obviously had the Tyler Shandro incident, which I won't get too much into. I'm sure everybody's sort of enough about that, but it is still good to see this change in attitude, in general. And I kind of hope we can see a bit of that moving forward, and maybe see a little less standoffish attitude towards our public sector.
And and what about at the the committee levels? Because your party's run by sort of a matrix of committee.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding that a more of a liberal or more of a pragmatic approach is taking the lead in your discussions, as opposed to having ideology in the front? Not you need to be ideological to have a keel, but to have a direction, I think, or be able to handle the landscape. Are you guys more pragmatic? Are you more liberal now at your core?
I think to a degree, I mean, not myself and, like the people I associate with in our, district associations, we've kind of always, of course, had that sort of core, that sort of, idea that in some places government is necessary to step in. But I think and I think, if something good does come out of all this, it is that I do think we all are able to kind of look and sort of see, at, Ottawa, for instance, coming in and like actually having some solutions to help us. I think that might ease some of the tensions we've all felt towards, even from our own community towards that sort of environment. So I think, yeah. So I guess my answer is yes. I do think we are kind of becoming a little more pragmatic, a little less, just ideological. No government offer back. In this, albeit through a very unfortunate circumstances.
So, what are we looking at? 2023? Are you going to become the journeyman candidate out there for the NDP, and you're just going to build up a victory over a few attempts, or are you and your team sort of looking to groom a new candidate? What are you guys thinking?
Well, we're not, we've been talking a bit, and I've told them, like I am willing to, if there's nobody else willing to step up to the plate, like and provided I'm able to, I'll absolutely run again in 2023. We've, now that I've actually got a campaign under my belt, got a bit of experience going, I think, and plus I'll be presumably out of school at that point. I think we'll have a much fighting chance. I mean, like you said earlier, we did kind of get clobbered as we expected, but we did also come in second. So
it wasn't a zero. There's a base there. Like, you got beat, but it wasn't a shutout, man. 9,000 votes. That's a lot of people. So, you got a base. So I'm looking forward to bringing you back as often as I can try to provoke you into saying all sorts of left-wing extreme things. I know I have all sorts of commentators submitting the right wing, conservative and progressive, the conservative point of view. So, and maybe we can look at doing a point counterpoint thing with you, but I'll introduce you first. Some of these guys, it might be a little bit challenged, but Aidan Theroux, former NDP candidate in Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan, current NDP campus VP communications and a professional communications student at MacU University. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, James.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.